Hello and welcome to Family Dynamics. It's Katherine.
And Liz.
And Ned. And John.
And we have a special guest with us today. We have Liz's sister-in-law / all of our sister-in-law, DeeDee Roman. Uh-oh. I should call you Danielle Roman, right?
It's all good.
Okay.
Hi.
So say hi. There you
Hello.
go. Okay.
Yeah, wait. I'm Liz, but Elizabeth is my birth name. I don't really think, or I rarely call you Danielle.
I don't think you ever call me
I
Danielle.
know, it's DeeDee.
People do though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
It's just
Oh, is
us.
that how you go now? How do you introduce yourself to people in the world?
If it's work, it's Danielle.
Oh,
Really?
that is a little more serious and like DeeDee, which is kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, but everybody from high school, elementary, junior high, high school, it's all DeeDee.
Yeah, I can't course correct that now. Like
I know. I feel bad though when I do it because I'm aware that you use Danielle in your other part of your life. And then I'm like, uh-oh, am I being disrespectful?
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay,
it's
good.
perfectly fine.
All right. Thank goodness we've cleared that up.
So we most likely we're going to be calling her DeeDee throughout this podcast.
But if you meet her in the street, you better call her Danielle.
Yeah, exactly. I like DR. Doctor, but no DR, just Danielle Roman. I mean, so we're going to give you guys a little history. So DeeDee is my sister-in-law. I'm married to her brother Mark, and we have had your mother Jan on a few times. Have you had an opportunity to listen to those podcasts?
I have. Yeah.
Now I don't know how factual those podcasts have been, but they've been fun.
Yeah.
They're
Fun to
her
listen to.
story. Yeah. They're factual according to her. Those are her.
That's
like,
the perfect
her-
way to put it. Yeah, it's factual to Jan. So
We're not sure if we agree with everything that she says
Likewise.
about. Yeah. Mhm.
But if you disagree, man, she gets cantankerous.
Well, that happens in real life, too.
Yeah, so we just roll with it. So the background is we were a family living on the west side, but I think we were expecting number 5?
No,
4?
6.
No, Virginia was
Yes.
the west side baby that came over. Okay, so
Virginia was the first one in the valley.
so our younger sister Virginia was in my mother's belly, our mother's belly, and they decided we need more room. Now at the time, the San Fernando Valley was kind of shockingly everybody on the 101. Yeah, oh my gosh, I feel like the Californians, like on the 101 to Wilshire to La Brea, like took you no time. Unlike today, where if you were living on the west side, moving to the valley would be like, well, just add an hour commute to your life.
Yeah. Goodbye. We'll never see you again.
Nope. Because our parents really had established a life on the west side, much like your parents.
Correct.
But in order to have a house and a backyard or some land, it was like maybe go a little west and go into the San Fernando Valley and get a larger lot. So our mother had been brought up where her family moved basically every 2 years. So she thought, sure, we'll move to the valley. I mean, how long will I stay in this house?
Right. I think she understood we were going to stay in the valley, but that first house in her mind was like, well, this is just the first
Transition,
house.
yeah.
It's not going to be the forever house. Whoops, it was.
And
okay.
hearing that from your mother, Jan, that kind of was her vibe too. She did not think the San Feliciano houses, because we'll get to it, but both of the houses are in San Feliciano, would be the forever house.
Correct. Nor did she realize that the driveway. She didn't really factor that driveway into the house. She saw the house in, I think, April. So it was beautiful and lush and the hillside was green and she thought it was nice. And then little did she know my dad put the offer in.
No. Classic.
And the second time that they were looking at it, they had owned it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so right around the same time, I think both of our families moved from the west side to the valley. 2 doors apart from each other. 2 houses in between us.
Did it really line up time-wise? I don't think I was aware of that.
Yeah, because DeeDee was already born, right?
Oh, yeah. I was 3.
Yeah. So she was just a little older than Virginia and has
17
been.
days.
Yeah. So we would come after you. So we bought the house after. They gave us no disclaimers about the neighbors. So, we moved into the house. You kind of took over. It was back in the era of riding your bikes after school. And, once summertime after breakfast was done, just get out and come back for dinner, basically. So idyllic childhood. But it wasn't till our sister Rosemary, who is barely 18 months younger than me, went to the public school down about 2 blocks away from our home, maybe 3, to the public school's kindergarten. And she came home and said, do you want to go play with my friend Mark down the street? And I mean, this is the era of like no one checked with each other's parents where they live.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. Do they have other kids? No, health and safety check before you just took off to someone's house. So I was like, what else have I got to do as the older sister? I guess fine. So we walked.
You need to vet it.
Yeah, I was like, all right, whatever. I'm the cool, probably at that point, maybe second grader.
Oh, very cool as a second
Yeah,
grader.
very
I mean,
cool.
you already had established yourself.
Well,
as
what's
cool.
really crazy is that I repeated kindergarten.
Right.
And Rosie repeated first grade. So at one point, we almost got in the same class. Like, it almost like we would have been 1 year apart instead of the 2. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know if at that point I was first in kindergarten. I just don't know the complete overlap. But I think I felt I was more mature, and I would give my attention to these younger siblings. All right, fine. What else have I got to do? So we go down the street, and it's like, oh, it's the house with the long driveway. Because I guess the developer of the neighborhood, DeeDee, don't you think it's like there's a big hill behind us?
Yes.
And it's not really usable land, but we'll get to what your dad did.
Yeah, because
but
it's too steep, really. Mm-hmm. And your driveway as well. Long driveway, but very, very steep driveway. Mm-hmm. We don't have a long driveway. Just the way that the lots worked out on that street are different.
And that's why I think from our property up to yours, the hill slope went steeper and steeper into a cul-de-sac that is up a hill. Mm-hmm. So we get to your house and our little legs had to crawl up your hill.
Yeah.
It was exhausting. And this started the lifelong of knocking at the door and your mother opening up the little window in the door being like, who is it? Just like the Wizard of Oz. Who's there? Who's there? Down here. Can we play? Did you call first? We don't know your phone number. Can we please come in? So it was like, all right, you kids from down the street. So we come in the house, and we had never met you before. This is literally the first time we met you because you were much younger.
Oh, yeah.
And we walk in, and you guys, it's one of the clearest memories of my life. You guys were playing on a Hot Wheel track on the kitchen floor. And we come in, and Rosie's like, hi, Mark. And he turns around, and she's saying it like, this is my sister Liz. He turned around and went, wow. Now, I, in that moment, because of the time, felt like Marsha Brady. Because it was like, I'm clearly with Jan, Rosemary the Dud. And now I am the hot older sister, Marsha. So I was like, I've got these kids under my thumb right away. And then I think we had a lovely time because you guys had like soda in your house. Mm-hmm. Like you guys had sugar, which we were already a household coming from the West Side in the quote unquote term, a little bit granola.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when it turned out that Rosie was sensitive to sugar, I mean,
Mom
she
went
really
full,
screwed us. And like every ounce of sugar, it was like, that's not a chocolate cake for your birthday, it's carob. And you're like, I love it. Blah, blah, blah. Yuck. So your house was like, oh my God, what the hell's happening here?
The real deal.
Would you like a Coca-Cola? I think I fainted on the floor.
Yeah. Would you like to wash down that Snickers bar with a Coke?
Oh, I was like, these are my new best friends. And I was in private school. I say this because Mark loves it. Whenever, and it's like, it's part of conversation. If you grow up in the Valley, like, oh, where'd you go to school? I'll say, oh, I went to Louisville, which is an all-girls private Catholic high school. And they go, oh, Mark went to Taft. And he always thinks I have some sort of like inflection or inference, like Taft, like public school. And I'm not. But he thinks I am. He's like, I know you went to private school. So that's the first day I ever met you. Mm-hmm. That was in the 70s. Mm-hmm. We'll age ourselves, but it was in the 70s. And
76, 77.
I guess. I really don't know. Math, although I just claimed today to somebody I was a numerologist. I'm actually not. So I'm not even going to attempt to do the math right now.
Don't worry, the math doesn't math for the numerologist either.
There you go. So perfect. So what is your sort of first memory of meeting any of the Killmond kids?
I think it was Virginia and I on the sidewalk in front of your house.
Oh, because you and Virginia are the closest in age.
We are, yeah.
But did you go to kindergarten together at the local public school?
I can't remember.
I don't feel like you did, but listen, we still have the class photos, those classic little oval, all the little ovals.
Did she go to Woodland Hill?
We all went
We probably did share a class.
I think you might have.
Yeah.
Okay, so but Virginia was sort of, you don't remember me and Marsha Brady, me?
I do remember you being in the kitchen.
See, was that stunning to everybody, you guys?
I'm sure.
But maybe it was just the story that's been retold.
I
so
think
many
it's just the
times.
story.
It has come up a number of times.
Yeah.
Listen, it's my first real moment of glory. I mean, give it to me.
It's your origin story
It's
with
my
Mark.
origin story.
Yeah.
It is, exactly. And it's never, as he says, you've never stopped wowing me. Now, the wow can have a lot of different means. Wow. Wow. So it's like, it just depends on the moment. But I think, because I've told it quite a few times, but Virginia would make the most sense because she really became your friend in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
wait. So timeline wise, if you're the same age as Ginny, essentially, which it's funny that I can't really track that. So this is my first
There's too
really
much to keep
realizing.
track of.
Yeah, I don't know because I kind of sometimes forget that Mark is a year younger than you, Liz, and then I guess I put you more with Rosemary. But timeline wise, that means if you said you moved into your house when you were 3. So we were there first, and then
we were there
yes,
first.
because we came when Ginny was.
I
being
got it
born.
wrong. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
That makes sense.
I mean,
All right.
it's
Because-
important to clarify.
Absolutely.
Who's tracking this?
Yeah, you guys felt like the neighborhood, you had settled the neighborhood.
Oh, I'm sure we were well established in the chaos of our home, because I think your mother, the first time she did knock on the front door, was like shell shocked when the door opened, because
yeah.
like there were like babies and laundry baskets and total chaos. My mom was on the classic phone with the cord that could go into 7 different rooms. Like, I'm sure your mom was like, "This is where my kids are going every day. Like, what is happening?"
Well, I think there was a real
Can I
difference.
borrow an
oh.
egg? Actually, never mind. Here's 3 eggs. My bad. You might need those.
You need them more than me.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think there was a real different vibe between our mom slash family and your mom, who is much more like put together,
Sophisticated.
And, yeah, she's got a sophisticated vibe, and even just like us coming over unannounced, we had a real ragamuffin
that was not
quality.
allowed.
Us Killmond kids.
Yeah, it was
I
usually
mean,
an arranged.
She had decided Jan had had enough. So she had declared that you had to call before you came over, and it had to be approved that we were coming over.
But I don't think that was, that was established later on.
Yes. And I also think it applied to most neighborhood kids. It wasn't just those Killmond kids.
Yeah.
But she really did that little window. So you have a front door, and then within the top center of the front door, a little window could open where just her face was like perfectly framed in it, going, "Did you call? Did you call?" And if you said no, but it would just slam shut, and you're like, "Son of a..."
and then you got to go home and call. I mean, look, I barely
Ridiculous.
ever went over to
You were
your house.
older
'cause
and
I was
cooler.
older. I wasn't cooler, but I was definitely not involved with the younger siblings in that stage. I was
We
like,
need to do a
not, you know.
lineup of who we match up in 8 is enough, because Marsha doesn't work because there's 4 girls in our family, and you weren't really Marsha, but
Wow. Rude.
I think you could have been one of the cool or older sisters in the 8 is enough. I just don't know which one. So
Yeah, you're more of like the Alice.
who's Alice? Oh my God, no.
That's rude.
There probably was some cool cousin we're forgetting about that came into town. But
Well, if we did play Brady Bunch, it was often that Rosemary was Alice, and we would be
oh
like,
my
yeah,
God, how cruel of us.
It was terrible.
But Virginia, and probably you, DeeDee and Virginia, were so adorable together, because DeeDee, you have beautiful dark hair and dark eyes, and Virginia had this little blonde head of hair and blue eyes. So you were like,
Laverne and Shirley.
yeah, well, cuter than that, but it was like,
Thank you.
there's an old fairy tale where it's like Red Rose and something else.
yeah.
And Mom would call you guys that, because it's really like 2 little princesses.
It might be Snow White and Rose Red.
I think something like that, where you're counter opposite, but like you're both adorable. And you were so cute. I mean, even as an older sibling, I was like, they're just so cute. DeeDee's so cute. And you got the Dorothy Hamill cut
Oh, yeah.
really early, like very
Yeah,
chic.
my mom was so upset.
Wait, she had nothing to-
She didn't want to cut that hair. She had, I had long
Oh,
hair.
it's
like,
gorgeous.
to my waist. And
Well, she cuts hair. She didn't cut it.
she did cut it.
Oh, she
didn't-
did?
Yeah, she did not want me to do it.
Oh.
Because we have discussed Jan in her earlier life was a beautician, where we cut hair and style hair. And so DeeDee and Mark always looked very well put together, cute outfits. We were private school kids, so early in our lives, we were like half of our lives are spent in uniforms. So
Which was a blessing for sure, because you could get away with a lot if you only had to put on a uniform. Yeah.
No offense to Jan, but like I remember Mom cutting my hair just because she wasn't doing the style cuts for you guys.
You had the little Laura Fauntleroy for a long time, so like that was easy to cut.
Bowl cut. Yeah, exactly.
And you had great little blonde curls. It was very easy to make a mistake on it and not have it look bad. Where our poor brother William had straight hair, and man, if that didn't get cut right, remember he threw like a tantrum?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of tantrums, you as a kid, you were a lot.
Yeah.
Were you? I
now-
don't know this.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Like a lot. How? What do you mean?
What I realized now.
Yeah,
is
we've had a
that-
little perspective.
Is I got the honor to take care of Ethan.
Oh, God, he
And when
inherited it from you.
And this is what I realized is that I got to hang out with Ethan as a young child, and I would pack all these snacks for him, and he'd eat all day long. Well, my mom would take me clothes shopping with my grandmother, and it would be a 4 or 5 hour adventure with no snacks or something to drink or anything. And so I would lose my nut, and I'd have a tantrum. I would be hungry and tired, and I'd be 3 or 4 or 5, and I just wanted to stop and eat something or drink something. And, I didn't smoke a pack of cigarettes. And
have one cup of
and
coffee.
had one cup of coffee to, like, get me through my day,
I'm
like
gonna
my
have
mom.
a steak at the end of the day. I'll be fine.
Like, she was like,
Okay,
what?
Jan.
What's wrong with this little girl? She's just having
She's
such
losing
a
her
hard, She's
mind.
losing her mind. It's like, just feed me. Just feed me. Give me a stick of gum.
So really, a
stick of gum.
You were just
You would
grouchy
tic-tac.
from being hungry.
Yeah.
But
No,
then-
I tore apart her car. She was going shopping with my aunt, and
Robinson May.
they actually pulled over and let me tear apart her car. It was like a shark in the back of the seat, like in the back seat.
Oh
so.
God.
But Jan really didn't understand that that's what was going on.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, you're like, oh, DeeDee's about to go off the rails. Like, we didn't know why. And now now you know. It's like kids need nutrients.
Yeah, just give her a sandwich.
They need something more than Tic Tac.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh. So, DeeDee was quite the little character. And DeeDee, our household was kind of known for, you could come over and get a little lost and get away with a lot going on there. And there usually was someone to play with. Because DeeDee, for some reason, I feel like you skewed maturity-wise a little older.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
At a certain point, I just jumped.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Well,
yes.
you and I started hanging out a little bit more than Virginia and I.
Which makes
and
no sense because we just leapfrogged over Rosemary.
completely. Well, I don't think Rosemary wanted anything to do with me. which is fine.
Rosie, I could say it to her face. She had a lot of bitchy years there, so it was a little difficult to navigate her.
Yeah, I didn't.
Maybe
I
she
didn't
just needed a snack.
She absolutely did, probably.
Maybe,
Yes.
And without sugar in the mix, it was like, how about no snacks ever?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there was no window for me with her ever.
Yeah, a little interest now.
None.
Well, she's also been similar to Virginia. I'm a big social person. Rosie's more of an introvert and not. So I'm like all on board. Who wants to come? And so that's true. Like, we leapfrogged over Rosemary.
Yeah.
And did we just leave Virginia in the dust?
Yeah. I feel bad about
Now,
it. But then
we owed an
in high-
apology. That's kind of true.
In high school, she did come out to a couple of high school parties, and she had a good time.
Yeah. Well, Virginia's very social.
She's really social.
Yeah. Well, also just going back to, like I said, school year, because you guys were on the public school track and we were on the private, some of our vacations did not line up, whether you had after school activities. The school year, we didn't spend as much time with each other, weekends occasionally, but it was the summer that was like,
Nonstop.
yeah, because we would go away to camp, but it would be a sleepaway camp, and that's a whole nother.
Yeah, but only for like a week.
We got to get Rosie in for that. Camp Maria Stella stories are how we survived it is shocking. I think you just refused to go at a certain point, Katherine.
Probably.
Yeah, you understood the assignment and said no. So, so we'd maybe be gone for like a week, and then the rest of the summer was like getting on those bikes, going to the public pool, because neither
pool.
one of us had a pool.
Well, because of that hill in the backyard, there just is not a possibility of a pool on those properties.
Well,
the way that it works. Yeah.
There is a side yard in your property that Hal did tell Mark if he wanted a pool, he'd go over there and start digging. and then start pissing
He
in
could
it.
personally. he
Yes.
could make his own pool.
Yes. I mean, and Mark got excited for saying, oh my gosh, I can go over there and start digging. Like he's going to rally like 10 friends. Like he just was delusional. But now we also know the pitch of the main hill, it just would have been a mudslide like on the regular. So, but Hal just said, yeah, if you want one, just start digging. Okay, sure. So summer was our backyards, which the backyards, we said there's a hill behind it, but the hill had no gates. So you could really go up your hill and just cross over to each other's backyards.
Yeah,
it was
it was just a big-
trespassing,
yeah.
but we would do it. Yeah. And back then it was sort of wild. And your dad had sort of tamed his upper lot into a garden.
Correct.
Yeah, like
What
a terraced
tiered-
garden.
Yeah. And I mean, I have memories, but what did he grow in that garden?
So there were some fruit trees, apricots and plums,
Oh, yeah.
and then there were blackberries, raspberries, artichokes,
Best tomatoes.
tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a really significant passion for gardening, but a real green thumb. Really, I think that was his relaxation when you get home
Absolutely.
from being a contractor and being stressed out. It was the beginning of our early scamming as children because DeeDee has a nickname from our mother called DeeDee
yeah.
Cott.
DeeDee caught.
DeeDee Cott. So DeeDee, entrepreneurial spirit back in the 80s, would go around and sell bags of apricots.
It's
DeeDee-
interesting. How did this even, what was the origin story on
This is the origin story.
Do you not remember this?
No, I remember doing it. I just don't remember the origin of the capitalism behind it.
Oh, it's me. I mean, hello, you and
Yeah,
I would go,
right?
yes, because we had no money. We could only shoplift so much and not get in trouble. So, I mean, we had to actually have money. So it was like, all right, what can we do? What can we make? What can we forage? What can we do to resell? Because, our parents really didn't give us money and we're too young to work. Now,
I don't
now
even
certain
think-
states
yeah.
are changing those laws and we could have gone and got jobs, but we really couldn't have jobs.
Right.
So there was a florist down the street from us on one of the corners. And if you went after hours in the dumpster, there was perfectly fine flowers to make little corsages or little bouquets. And we'd make those and then go sell them door to door for $1 or $2. And, be like, and the
mean,
thing is,
what?
the
That is hysterical.
It also, the entrepreneurial spirit always had a tap, right? We'd be like, woo, we have $5. We're done.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck all the rest of the flowers.
forget it.
Enough to get ice cream at the Altadena Dairy.
No, for
We're
5
good.
of our friends.
Go
So
Well,
Oh, yeah.
achieved.
It was purchased big. Everybody gets the
who
benefit.
wants ice cream? It's on DeeDee and Liz. Double scoops at Thrifty's. That's what we would do. So it would only be to serve our immediate needs. So we would go dumpster diving for flowers and make up little flower. I mean, I'm sure people, it was always the regular customers. I'm sure they're like, oh God, here they come again.
Yeah, these kids again.
But there would be occasional things like go put flyers in the car lot at, to pay
absolutely.
inventory. Sure. I mean, I guarantee we threw half the flyers away. And they're like, give us our $5. I mean, we were insane. So one of the entrepreneurial things DeeDee just came up independently with, shockingly, was a brown paper bag of apricots to sell. And she came and knocked on our front door. And I was like, what are you up to? Oh, all right. Mom, do you want apricots? So my mom, of course, is cute little DeeDee selling apricots from her dad's tree. And maybe it was $2 the bag. I mean, back then, even $1 was a lot because literally a scoop of ice cream was 15 cents.
15 cents. Mm-hmm.
Now we sound like
Double
in the
scoop for 25,
1920s,
yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm just saying there were things that were expensive, but for some reason, thrifty ice cream was a double was 30 cents. So
Oh, no, I think it was 25. I'm pretty sure.
So you didn't need to have that much money in your pocket during the summer, but you did need some because the beach bus was 25 cents. So we had to
And the
factor.
pool, wasn't
the
it
pool
like
wasn't
50
free,
cents?
it was,
To,
you know,
yeah.
50 cents.
50 cents to get
That's
into
what
the
I'm
pool.
saying.
I think.
About $5, the world was your oyster, but you needed about that much to work every corner that we were working on a summer day. So DeeDee comes around with her bag of apricots. She looks at them first, oh my God, these look gorgeous. That peachy apricot, orange color, gorgeous. So thank you, DeeDee. Bye. DeeDee skips away. And my mom brings them inside and she takes out one and eats. Oh, they're just delicious. Oh, it's just got a gift. And then she empties the bag and literally the top layer was beautifully ripe apricots. You dumped out the bag and everything in underneath it could have pelted and killed somebody. It was
Bright
hard.
green.
They weren't even
Bright green.
right? I mean, Hal probably got mad at you. They shouldn't have even come off the tree. He was
I
like,
didn't even know.
oh my God. So my mom, but then it was a week later, came back with another bag. And Mom's like, All right, DeeDee caught. And that's where the nickname came from, because you were selling the apricots. And it was like, let's see if we really got some ripe ones in here, if you're pulling a fast one on us again. Because then, of course, these apricots like sat on our counter for like, you'd get like dysteria or diarrhea if you would eat them. They were so they were so, not ripe. It was like, oh my God, there's like that well, like apricots are one of those weird things. Like there's usually like a day and a half that it's actually really good. It's like, oh my God.
They're like avocados.
Or like a pear. I mean, like, oh God. So that's our entrepreneurial spirit in summer was insane, because really, I mean, the shoot pool, which we would not even wear sunscreen, and we're both fair. I mean, my Lord.
And there was no shade. It was awful.
It was your quintessential community pool. It's a slab of concrete with a big chlorinated I mean, it's like
you can smell the chlorine as you're coming close. Yeah.
Literally, I think I put my head in and instantly turned green. It was like, well, that's the shade for summer. And we'd ride our bikes there and lock them up, and then go from there to like 7-Eleven, and that would be our whole day. And running around the hill, we weren't really allowed in each other's houses per se to be like crazy in the summer.
No, our parents wanted us outside.
Get out.
Yeah.
Because especially your house, your mom, Hal would leave very early in the morning, your dad, to go run his jobs. And then he really was not back till like 4 or 5 o'clock.
That's right.
And you guys were a much more traditional house. Like dinner was on the table.
Yeah.
And it was structured. Like you guys, I always was so jealous. Very often you could play in the daylight savings time after dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were barely having dinner at like 7 or 7:30. So it was like,
We had like a small restaurant that we were running every night at our house. All right, there's a 7 top. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to do in the kitchen.
Well,
there's a mess now. We got to clean it up.
No special orders.
6 hours later.
No special orders. No, I would not like tough shit, because that's the other thing at your house. I was so surprised. Like growing up, I go to dinner occasionally at your house. Wait, DeeDee, I just recounted this as one of your mom's go-to meals that can still almost make me dry heave. And I mean, as a little kid, I was like, what the hell is this? It was the weirdest combination. You early on, your family got, what is that type of microwave you got? It wasn't just a regular microwave.
It's like a Panasonic or something.
Like a radar range?
Okay, all I can tell you is this. The go-to dinner was like spaghetti and like a tomato sauce. And then a microwave chicken.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Oh my God. It would have no color, a slight tint of green. I was like, am I getting radioactive, Katherine, seriously, from eating it?
What do you mean? Microwave chicken, like a chicken breast? Like just nuked in the microwave?
She would microwave a
whole chicken.
A whole chicken?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still
No
one
all,
should do
questioning that
that.
now, but like 100% in the 60s, that's what the instructions said. Page
It was
2,
the
how to
80s.
cook
It
a
was the
chicken.
80s.
Yes.
Total 80s microwave from Jimco.
But it was some sort of powerful microwave that they loved so much. When they did the remodel, they had to build like the whole kitchen around this fucking microwave.
It's still alive.
No, stop.
It is.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if the handle off your mom's microwave, if it didn't break off, you'd probably still have that one too.
Oh, we probably
yeah,
would.
We had
for
to
sure. With the little wood piece and the rubber to keep it in place.
We had to put cork underneath it to wedge it up.
It's fine. It's heating stuff up.
It's
Don't
not
worry about
allowing out any gamma rays.
We don't know
It's
about
original
that. Yeah.
technology.
So I just remember, like, I'd go to dinner at your house and the food would just be on the table, like serve yourself. And in a large family, you can't do that.
You got to portion that out.
You got portion control. And there rarely was seconds or
No.
even leftovers too often.
Well, there were enough leftovers that Mom did that gross leftover soup combo thing.
Garbage pail soup.
Sometimes
It was
called-
garbage.
It was garbage. It was sometimes called garbage soup, but that sounded very unappealing. So she did call it refrigerator cleanup soup. But she would put in like
Lima
there's a half
beans.
serving of mashed potatoes. There's a half serving of what, and just chuck it all together. Super gross.
You're like,
But
wait, I
yeah,
mean,
Whatever. It's like
spaghetti,
mostly
lima
tomato
beans.
flavored, and then, ooh, what was that? Part of a burrito. I don't know.
So wrong.
oatmeal to thicken it up. What?
Surprise stew. You never know what you're going to get in the next bite.
So you'd go to the Roman household, and it was much more sophisticated.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, and it was also sort of like eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's the family meal, and that's what everybody was
Yeah.
eating. Maybe if you
Yeah.
didn't want the salad or something, but you were eating the family meal.
Right.
But for the most part, your mother and then even eventually your father were excellent cooks. This just one meal that she served quite often was so traumatizing. And then I would say to Marco, I'm like, as a kid, I'd be like, well, what are you having for dinner? And it still bothers him to this day if I'll ask, like, well, what are we having? He's like, well, what does it matter? You still just want to go. I'm like, no, it kind of matters. And now that I know that microwave still exists, it really matters.
Oh, yeah.
Because if she brings out that,
She'll never do that.
oh, God. I mean, as a kid, I was like, why is the skin color like it? What?
That sounds
I don't even know how to
so gross.
describe it. It was so gross. And I said, if she'd taken the chicken off and then put it in the tomato sauce, I would have been none the wiser.
Correct.
But it was like kept separate, which by itself was so weird to me. I was like, what is happening?
Was it seasoned at all?
Yeah, probably salt and pepper.
Well, that was another thing. Your household did not put salt and pepper on the table. And if you asked for it, it always was very much like an arch brow of like, why? Because your mother being Southern,
Yeah.
Southern/Jewish/ south of the boulevard, like you just added up to bitch growing up a lot. You know, I mean, I loved her, but it was like she was one of the scary moms. Like, so you're like, this has no flavor. Can I get salt and pepper? You didn't.
They may have been trying to control my dad.
For sure, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So we all had to suffer.
Yeah.
So you just sat there and you're like, it's going to be tasteless, this green chicken on top of everything else.
I remember
green
the same
chicken.
thing with no salt on the table when Grandpa was coming out to visit. It was like, yeah, we have to watch his salt intake. We got to take it off the table.
Yeah.
And then also, I remember probably the same trip, him and me sneaking out front with a pocket knife and a salami.
Wow.
Eating
Very
half
nice.
of the thing together. I'm like 4. So I probably
perfect.
shouldn't have had that much salami.
Oh my
He's like, you're going to take my salt? I'm going to get my salt. Don't you worry about my salt.
Your stomach. I have an upset stomach, Mom. Why?
Wait, did he travel with that salami?
I don't know. I don't know if he went off and got a secret salami someplace in the neighborhood.
Probably.
That sounds really wrong. A secret salami in the neighborhood. He would come because they would come for visits when they had moved back east, and then would come for usually during winter back east because they want to get away from the cold. They would come for sometimes like a month. But he was so independent. He usually somehow finagled a car from somewhere, did something. And the refrigerator definitely would be stocked with things they enjoyed to eat.
Right.
You knew you didn't have the balls to touch the pinwheels or the Cheetos or that salami, like unless you were offered, because he'd do like the adult dinners, like
Not Cheetos. You mean Cheez-Its? You mean those little,
Cheez-Its,
the little
right?
crackers?
Oh, not Cheetos. Yeah, those little square. That was our grandmother's drink with the little scotch.
Yeah.
So,
A Scotch crossword and some Cheez-Its.
yeah, because
Wow.
your grandparents,
right?
I know.
Ooh, classy.
And she was
flavor
so
profiles.
and she was so classy. It makes no sense. Your dad's parents, your grandparents, were like West Side. You grew up with those grandparents really being involved, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because then your mom's parents were they were like 2 or 3 hours away on the average,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, so you didn't see them as often.
Correct.
But I remember meeting them as a little kid and be like, oh, those are the grandparents type of thing. And they seemed very different, just in the sense of like, I don't know, it was simple versus sophisticated is the best way to put it.
Okay.
But very, very nice, like as kids, like we're like very nice grandparents. But they were like of that generation that they instantly looked like grandparents, unlike today.
Yeah.
Like, were you always looking this old?
Yes.
Because they were like in their 50s,
And they looked like they were 80.
for sure.
It's strange.
Like you're getting the perm on Monday
Yeah.
and not washing your hair like all week already. You're doing that. It's like, what is happening? Like, set the curl. It's like, what? So then you end up going to the middle school down the street till 5th grade or 6th grade?
I think it was 5th grade into
Junior high.
Yeah, junior high.
Ah.
So junior high was 6, 7, 8.
Were you part of the generation, because I have a picture of you wearing it, but I don't know if you actually did it, the busing generation?
I was bused
You were bused. And this
in
is a
second
very...
grade.
Second grade, you're
From to where?
From Woodland Hills Elementary, which was
2 blocks, 3
2
blocks,
from my house, to Hart Street in Canoga Park.
like 3 little towns over.
Why would they do this? There's no reason for this.
We want you to meet other kids. We want you to
But it was
like
the
some
same.
variety
It didn't
in
make
your
any
life.
sense.
No, it was an odd time. And I actually think that changed Catholic schools. Catholic schools that traditionally did not have kindergartens or preschools started to implement those programs because they realized parents didn't want to bus a kindergartner. They basically, I want to start my kid at the school and leave them there.
Well, just even for a little kid to be on the bus
Yeah,
in the morning
crazy.
when you have a school down the street seems very odd.
Yeah.
But that's also when the Catholic schools really opened up to like, oh, you don't have to be Catholic to go here. Just we will let other kids
denominations
in,
and you can pay the
or
tuition.
non-denominations.
Right,
Just,
right,
you know,
right.
they open the doors a little
You
bit.
still got to go to mass though once a week.
You still had to. We were trying to make you Catholic if you're going to come here, but
Now that grade school is still there, adorable. And during the summer, we would go to the day program there with Coach John Williams,
Oh, so fun.
who I think really flirted with our mother.
I think so too.
And I remember,
Really?
yeah,
I think he flirted with every mother.
yeah. And I think our mother was receptive. Did not do anything. No, I'm not implying that she did anything, but I think she was like, sure, let's be friends. Like, she's such a friendly
80s
person.
mom love a hot coach. What are you
Yeah.
talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Yeah.
With the short shorts.
Oh, the
he
OP,
did.
Whistle.
It
the
was all
OP
there.
corduroy shorts.
You bend over and pick up that basketball, sir.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
exactly.
geez, oh my gosh.
So we would play, you know, we'd go dip in and see if anything cool is happening up in the neighborhood. And it's like, oh, we're going to play a water balloon fight? Sure. Like, it always like, oh, we're going to try to carry a watermelon between our legs across. Like, we would just, okay, fine. Like, we would do whatever. So summers, we really did grow up with each other.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there was nobody was going away to they're going away for a sleepaway camp for a month. No, because it was even like early generations of like, I remember we played spin the bottle because Mark had guy friends that would come out. And DeeDee was like skewing older with the older kids. So like I'd send Virginia home or we're like, okay, now it's like older, like 8 o'clock or something. And I'm out after dinner.
Right.
Down. And your mom and dad would make homemade ice cream.
They would.
And there was the Z channel that we could watch like a
boy.
provocative movie on. I mean, those were torture because then it'd be like, oh, I just watched Poltergeist and now I'm walking home by myself at 9 o'clock at night. Terrified. And Jan, passively aggressively, you get half down the hill and she'd turn off the lights. So you're either going to stumble down and die or somebody's going to jump out and get you. She's like, bye. Every light would go off and you're like, what the? Like, ready?
Jan represents very fun adults from an adult perspective. From the kids' perspective, it's absolutely terrifying.
yeah.
But like as an adult, I really enjoy how Jan
Oh my God,
lives
DeeDee.
vicariously. I'm gonna turn these kids' lights off and freak
I'm
them
just
out.
good-
It's like you're out of my eye line.
Because your mother always presented herself very put together. And then she had the Buick, and then she had the Cadillac, and she had long nails and big glasses, and the hair was coiffed, and things matched with her outfit, unlike our mom. Because also, our mom had, after Virginia, 2 more kids. So it was just not ending. And I remember you guys would occasionally go on bike rides, and she would go with you, and she'd hold her hands in a way on the handlebars, like for her nails.
Like her nails were actually wet.
Yeah, or something like they
they
were
were
net.
up.
Like she didn't want to curl them over, like actually on the handlebars to be up. And so Rosie and I were like dun 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 dun. Like, we totally. So that became like one of the jokes. It was also just such an anomaly to see her like on a bike.
bike, yeah.
It was like, what? There's never an athletic vibe about your parents. So it was like, whoa. Whereas our mom would like get in the mix occasionally. You know, it's like, all right.
well, wait, back to school. So
Yeah.
you went to Woodland Hills Elementary, and then how many years were you bused? Were just that
Just
one?
that- just
that
one.
one year. Okay.
Yeah,
and then,
parents protested, and there's a picture of Virginia and DeeDee wearing pins that say "Don't bust me," and that just ended that.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find it. It's like that just ended that. Like it got voted out. City council.
Amazing. Okay, so then after that, you went to what middle school?
Parkman Junior High.
Parkman Junior High, which
is
doesn't
now
exist.
Woodland
it's something
Hills
else.
Academy or something like
Right.
It sounds more prestigious, but it's basically the same. But I think it has uniforms now.
that. Which would have been nice.
Because I remember going on a shopping spree with you guys, and with Annie
stressful.
and
Oh. Did we go to Judy's outlets?
Judy's Outlet big
Sale.
sale.
We'd wake up before dawn, get in line,
I had all my babysitting money.
carry trash bags
It
in
was-
to carry all the clothes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. You grabbed and then you tried on.
Where was the Judy's Outlet? I have no concept
It
of this
probably
place.
No, it was like a warehouse.
It felt like it was so far away. It was probably Panorama City or Van Nuys.
yeah.
It wasn't like downtown
Van Nuys.
LA, but
Yeah,
it
it
felt
was
like we were in the
Deep
car forever.
Chatsworth.
Yeah.
20 minutes away because in our childhood, everything was so close in proximity. Like when we take the beach bus, and DeeDee and I were bad, we take the beach bus over Topanga Canyon. So our house was sort of off a little canyon, but at the base. You get on the beach bus for a quarter, take it over the canyon, and most of the time we miss the beach bus home.
It's not my fault.
Are you blaming me?
Liz, you were the only one that ever made me late.
That's true.
I was on that beach bus for years and years, and you were the only one I was ever with that we missed the bus.
I just watched the movie Valley Girl, and when they're at the beach and they're like, "Oh my god, that guy's so cool!" Like, "Oh my god," I was like, "That was us."
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
So if there was
For
like a
sure.
cute guy or fun shit was going down, it's like,
You can't leave.
yeah, the bus driver Ted. It was like, "Ugh, forget him. And he forgot us. He like was
See ya.
leaving like,
He didn't care.
13-year-old just somewhere in Topanga Canyon. So then we had to hitchhike home.
I mean, I can't even imagine.
But
that you
DeeDee
guys
and I
did
had all of
that.
our rules. We'd be like,
Yeah, it's interesting. The rules were weird. It's the loudest voice that rules, right?
And I wonder who that could be. Who's the loudest voice, do you think?
in childhood, it was me because the older siblings had no interest in me whatsoever.
I mean, that's kind of true.
So
it's terrible to say, but that's just how it
Because
shook
we're
out.
super close in age, and growing up, we
were not hanging
oh my
out
god,
at
you
all.
want nothing to do with me, which was to your sorry, you really missed out.
I mean, that's true.
No, I don't know. But so then I had to dominate the younger set. It was
true.
like, so let me just control this whole environment. So yes, I mean, that's why when we would do our summer productions that we had put together over 2 days, a full production of Hello Dolly over 2 days. And Mark goes, I still remember you as the director, very Debbie Allen, very fame. When he was,
Did you have a cane?
I did. Because that's
Tap
how
it out.
I was emulating her. And when he would not get the choreography, I mean, literally when I say we'd put this up in like 48 hours, it was like the Little Rascals, we'd have a curtain and all that in our backyard. He said I would like whip him on his legs. He goes, I go, when you married me? He goes, I mean, you were just so interesting. So you just were insane. And he goes, I shouldn't have ever been that interested, like, because he was a boy and girl. He's like, but the Killmond house was always so insane. It was
Yeah.
like, what the hell is happening down here? Oh, now I'm in a play, and now we're trying to sell tickets to the neighbors. Everybody's coming in the back. And my mom would be like, what's happening? It's like, oh, Mom, we're having a play production here at 7:00 tonight. Can you make appetizers?
Yeah, I remember the cheese puffs.
Oh,
that you
God, yes, those were so good. No, they weren't good.
They were fine.
How did I make this? I decided to also have concessions and
It's
sell.
true.
It's such a foreshadowing of my whole life with you two.
You got to make the buck.
Oh my God, we'd
Bring
sell
them
tickets.
in, sell them, whatever.
Mom and Dad had to pay for tickets for their own backyard. It's
Well,
like-
that's how it should be.
I mean, if you'd really thought this through, you should have been selling season passes, and then
We
like
could have
maybe
pulled-
do
we
At a
two
premium,
performances.
yeah.
do a
and
premium.
we could barely pull off the summer production.
Just saying,
The
you know,
repertoire.
Don't
Was it
make
Even
big
10
promises.
Minutes? Was it even
I mean,
a 10
yeah, if it was
minute
15
the
minutes,
money up front.
and I knew
How much of the Hello Dolly story can you do in
The
10
song.
minutes? I don't even know.
That is it. The song.
Well, Ed, you're totally right, because really what it boiled down to is I was like, we just need a strong closer. So I'd be like, well,
Smart.
and it was like, but then I think we took the opening Dolly, like, hello, Dolly. Well, hello, Dolly. And I think we put the hello at the end as a goodbye. Like, it made no sense. It made no sense. And our parents, Jan must have been like, what the hell? But I think she's just so happy to have you out of the house. She's
Yeah,
like, oh,
absolutely.
you're going down to put on a huge Broadway production down the street. Yes, goodbye.
I'm sure it's going to be great.
Oh
sure
my
it's going to be
God,
awesome.
Insanity. So, yeah, I mean, that was our summer. And it wasn't till about, I got into junior high age, maybe 7th or 8th, and maybe you were 5th and 6th. It was like the boy stuff started.
The boy stuff, what does that mean?
Well, listen, it's bizarre, but my husband Mark, I was not interested or intrigued by him really until like almost high school. So it would be more of our friends. We had a guy named Derek that lived next to us that I did find intriguing. We had a girlfriend, Tracy,
Yes.
and here's the deal. If you developed early back then, you got a lot of attention. And DeeDee and I did not develop early back then. So we had our girlfriend, Tracy, who did. And
So she was the attention getter.
yes, for the most part.
For the boys, I mean. Yeah.
So if we're playing spin the bottle, it's like, well, DeeDee's not going to kiss her brother. Mark and I would go in the closet and like look at each other, and we had no desire. So really, it was like Mark making out with Tracy, or me and making out is the loosest term of that. Like we were talking innocent kissing. And then Derek and I get in there. I mean, I had braces. I mean, this is like alarming to think about, but like, maybe that would happen. And then there was a lot of trying to go to the movie theater and hang out and things like that, and go to the Galleria Mall. I mean, we were Valley girls. And Jan would begrudgingly drive us sometimes. I mean, our parents never drove us anywhere.
Anywhere. No.
No. So it was like, well, okay, if we want to go see Ghostbusters.
Oh, well, that was an event.
How the hell are we going to get there, though? It was like...
That movie was an event.
I think we probably saw it 3 times.
Well, the first time we went as a group. So it was Derek and my brother and probably Mark Gropestein. And you and I think Rosemary and
probably
Virginia.
Rosemary.
And my dad would bring out big buckets of popcorn before we even got into the movie theater.
Yes. Your parents liked to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Our parents had like no time for it.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and they were very judgy of it too. There were very few movies that they thought were appropriate to even go see.
PG was like, they took the parental guidance like, seriously.
Well, we got in late on the actual movie career of our dad, but I don't think he would have even taken us to go see movies he was in.
Oh, no.
Like that was the vibe.
Psycho? Hell no.
No.
So I remember the song Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. So by the time we saw the movie about a week later, like on a Saturday, everybody was singing along with the song. But we all don't know it well enough. So I remember just like being so mortified when our whole group did a big loud Ghostbusters and it wasn't one of the Ghostbuster cars. We were like, oh my God. We were like dying, laughing, like just, so much fun. I mean, those were like fun, innocent times of like true like childhood and like innocence. And because there was no social media, you really didn't go anywhere by yourself because there's always a sibling or a friend. I mean, it was very much, and you usually stayed within a parameter of what, 2 to 3 miles of your house?
Yeah.
Except for our highly dangerous going over to the beach and having to hitchhike home.
Yeah.
But the rules were like, no vans, no station wagons. We prefer a woman driver. It's got to be a 4-door car. I mean, we wave cars past.
What?
And then when we got in the car, like your name was Lisa and like my name was like Kelly because we couldn't have like real names. We tell nothing about ourselves and we make sure the door is always unlocked.
It is a miracle that you guys are alive.
It's true.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to our later things. I don't think we're going to get to it in this podcast. We'll have to have you back, DeeDee. The high school years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so
They might have been wild. Is that going to be? Yeah.
Yeah.
they were a lot of fun. But one of our big things was we'd get dropped off like on the main Topanga Canyon Boulevard. And they'd be like, oh, this is our house right here. Thank you. I think our mom's home right now. Bye. And then we go hide behind a bush. And then when the car drove away, then we'd walk the 3 or 4 blocks to our house. So we were very savvy hitchhikers.
Trying to throw off the murderers,
Right.
Hello, after school specials. For sure, we're going to get kidnapped. We were like a brunette and a blonde. We were, I mean, I don't want to
Adorable.
mock anybody, anything, but it's like, it is shocking. Nothing ever happened to us. No one flashed us. No one tried to, I don't know, Dee.
No, you're right.
No one flashed us. There was no real, I had more sketchy things happen with like babysitter dads, than for sure ever like hitchhiking. And I never did it alone. We took the RTD bus a lot of places, like the buses have a bus pass. The world is yours. That's how we got to a lot of places was the bus pass. Like Rosie and I were just talking about, do you remember this, DeeDee? There was this restaurant that for sure was not close. And we'd ride our bikes and the local little grocery store called Gary's, so it wasn't a big Ralph's or Vaughn's, would have like a community bulletin board. And on the bulletin board, because there's no internet, it's like how you found out about stuff, was like this Saturday at Bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Bonkers,
with its waffle fries,
good.
is going to have...
Was it a 50s themed restaurant, Bonkers? Yeah, okay.
And they're going to have like a 1950s car rally, and we need extras to come. Like that is like manna to heaven to us, like something to do, costumes.
Ion LA.
Ion LA is going to like videotape.
God, I remember
and I
this
think
now.
we were going to get paid like $10 each. We're like, oh my God, Mom! How can we dress 1950s? Of course, DeeDee comes in like a full fucking poodle skirt. On...
You had the poodle skirt.
Absolutely, I did not, DeeDee. Your mother like took it like you were going to be on Happy Days. Like you looked amazing. We were like thrown together as usual. But my mom was good at accessorizing. So it was some high ponytail with a bow and some saddle shoes. Like we made it work. But we definitely took the RTD bus there because both of our parents were like, we're not driving you there. Like, so get your asses there on your own. So we're on the RTD bus, like dressed like 1950s.
I don't know if that's the right initials. The RTD? What does that even stand?
Rapid Transit
District? RTD, maybe? Okay.
It's for
Rapid Transit District, I think is what it is. I think it's been changed to MTA now, the Metro Transit Authority.
It was not the MTA when we
No,
were
it
growing
wasn't.
up.
No.
Right,
But
okay.
it just when you're saying RTD, it sounds like you're going to say R2D2. So my ears are like, wait, what are you saying? Okay, sorry.
Well, it was. I mean, like, I don't think I've ridden the bus. Have it changed over to MTA? So RTD, like, as soon as anybody got a license, the world was ours.
Yeah.
So this was more like that weird pocket of like 12 to 14. Like, you wanted to do stuff, you're independent, and you were too cool to ride a bike, too far to maybe take skateboard. So it was like the bus. So we would take it everywhere. So we took it to Bonkers for this 1950s car rally. And this gets back even to our girlfriend Tracy. So we're sitting there and they're like, you guys sit on this car and you guys be doing the swing dance over here. And it was Chuck Lorre, I think, was the guy who was the INLA reporter, like in the 1950s.
Chuck Woolery?
Chuck Woolery.
No,
Chuck Henry.
Chuck Henry. Thank you. Chuck Woolery is the game
host?
show host.
Yeah.
So
And Chuck Lorre.
Lorre
That's
is the creator of many, many TV series. Slightly different.
He's
than the
2.5 men.
local
Yeah, it's
host.
Oh my God.
Chuck Lorre is 2.5 men slash.
Unravel that a little bit.
Yeah, that took a moment for me to realize. Like, wait, are we talking about the creator?
Chuck E. Cheese. No, Chuck
Also, has
Henry.
no one ever caught that Chuck Lorre is like Chuck the Truck? Because a lorry is a truck in England, right?
Oh, okay.
No, Ed.
Chucky
No one's
Trucky.
caught that probably. I mean, that is.
Yeah, everyone in his life has told him that. I'm sorry.
No, probably. I don't know. But Chuck Henry. So he was sort of producing with his camera people and all this and that. And so this was one of the classic DeeDee and Liz adventures. We rallied the younger kids. We're all coming. I probably was taking a cut off of everybody's fee.
Oh, yeah.
Just who knows? But actually,
as a manager.
yeah. Actually, probably what we were going to do was then we were probably just going to go right into Bonkers, buy ourselves lunch, because we're not even getting into the Hamburger Hamlet days. Those poor waitresses probably hated us. It was like, the bill is $12.37. They're like, $12.50. Here you go. Waiters.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Hate it. We're just going to split this. We'd like water. Can we get a side of this? They're like, get out. So we probably just going to buy ourselves lunch. So we get there. We are looking good enough as extras. We're getting some front position. You know, we're going to definitely make camera. Okay, great. And so we're like doing the sock hop or whatever. And God love Tracy. Something always would happen with her.
I know.
And one of these 1950s gorgeous cars had a big sort of like fishtail or fender off the back,
It's a muffler.
and she came on it, at it, danced next to it, and basically sliced her leg so
Oh, no.
badly that we then had to call her mom. I think maybe an ambulance did come.
Yeah.
And she'd be taken away. Now, classic us. Bye. Like,
Good luck. We're still on camera.
Bye. We still need to make our $10. Like, we are not going to the emergency room with you. Goodbye. But can I borrow your sweater? It's cuter than mine. No,
I hope it all works out. See you later.
For
that
the scars that this is going to leave all of us, we'll take the emotional ones. Bye-bye.
it did leave a scar because I remember hearing about it for years after. She was very bitter that, like, now I'll wrap it up with this. Then comes the summer because we get some notification with our check that's going to air this day. So we all gathered around and we put the VCR tape in to record at our house because it was summer. I mean, so our house was 90 freaking degrees inside. So I'd rather go down to the Roman's house and have a viewing party with probably popcorn,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola,
Homemade ice cream.
Coca-Cola,
Don't they have, like, a
Coke
bigger
floats,
size TV?
popcorn.
Yeah,
Also,
and
yeah.
air conditioning.
Wow.
So, because it was coming
a
on.
garden.
Yes. And all fresh veg. It was the dichotomy of fresh vegetables and fruits and then tons of sugar. But it was kind of in the middle of the day, too. So it popped it in. The VCR is going to record at our house. Go down to the Romans, and we're watching it. And it was a whole 1950s package. And what was crazy...
Well, it was a 1950s package because they were doing a throwback to the 50s from the 80s, like Back to the Future. It
Right.
was like a sales thing that they were doing, like, Back to the Future's cool. Now we're going to rip that off and do our own.
It tied into Back to the
Yeah.
Future. Ed, I'm going to assume you're correct because they did start color, and I think they might have made it black and white, the package. But we're sitting there watching it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they show a classic 1950s Mustang ad. And it's starring our dad.
It's incredible.
And so this is the real entrepreneurial, real now another rope it in. So we're shocked. So we watch it. We have a great time. We were featured. I remember seeing us and we're like, oh my gosh. I even think Tracy made a little cut pre-injury. Like she was, not pre-cut. Whoops. No,
She made the cut.
she made the cut before the cut.
before the cut, right.
So I think, she was even featured in it. So then I run home and I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, you were part of it too. Now, of course, our dad, like I said, entrepreneurial spirit, he's like, where's my residual check for that? And he was able to track down and make some money on more than we did. And he did nothing. So,
come on.
No, I mean, so that was always a very fun thing to like. And Ed, probably somewhere in the house, that VHS is somewhere in that house.
It is. And I've gone online. That commercial is available online too. There's also
not the commercial. I'm talking about DeeDee and I and our starring role.
Yeah. You can actually find that episode online as well too. INLA stuff has been digitized.
Oh my God, we need to find it. Right. I mean, because that was just one of our. What else did you do?
One of your shining moments.
Oh my God. All right. Now I feel like we're about to get into puberty. So I think we should stop, DeeDee, right?
God, yeah.
Because it all starts to go a little crazy.
I have a very important factual confirmation for you. It was RTD, Rapid Transit District, that changed in 1993.
I think it should be R2D2 still. So wait, it's R...
T, the letter, and then D. Yes.
I said RT. Now I'm never going to get it right.
You did RTD.
And what did it stand for again, John? Sorry, clarify one more time.
You definitely said R2D multiple times.
Okay.
But it's RTD, Rapid Transit District.
And believe me, it wasn't rapid. There are times you were abandoned. It was really, but that was the valley at the time. You're blessed to get anywhere.
Yeah, it was your only option, really.
It was your only option. Pay phones. I mean, because just really one last thing to recap this section, because Jan would sometimes take us places in the Cadillac, and seatbelts were not even a law really yet. So it'd be fine if 7 of us were sitting in one of those big bench seats in the back of a Cadillac. She would drop us off. Couldn't guarantee would always pick us up. We'd have to call her, and she'd sound so aggravated. We had a huge van. We could have fit everybody in it, but our parents wouldn't even answer the phone. They knew better. So Jan would be so pissed because your parents were the type, as soon as the sun went down, your mom was in a loose t-shirt and in their bed with the TV on, right?
Yeah.
And they would keep
wind down time.
It was so weird. They would keep the door open no matter what and the TV on until they fell asleep. So it was a very odd sort of. So if you were watching TV in the den and you caught a glimpse of Jan, she'd just be in a t-shirt and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be looking, because it was so
it's her house.
Yeah, she needs to air it out. She needs to cool down. So it was like, okay. So obviously we've woken her up or disturbed her lay down time, and she's got to come get us. And one of the most notorious famous, we were in high school, but it encapsulates how pissed we were, freshmen or something. So we still didn't drive. And I had my girlfriend Raquel with me, and we're at the Man Valley West Theater. Who knows when we were allowed to go see her? What I lied and said we were seeing, I don't know. Jan comes, picks us up, and we get in the car, and Raquel didn't have a ride home. Oh. And I said, can you drive Raquel home?
Oh.
And that meant, because it wasn't really driving us home, was just pulling up to her own house, and we walked home from her house. So instantly the chill way beyond the air conditioning set in. You're like, oh my God. And she's like, where do you live? I mean, now they love each other, but there was a decade plus they hate each other from this. And then so Jan is deadly sense. We're all no one can speak. We're all so scared. And then Jan goes, and who was smoking? She goes, did you smoke? And even in the front seat, 3 of us could sit in the front seat next to her. So force, and somehow or another, poor Raquel got right next to her. And she's like, were you smoking? And Raquel's had braces. She's like, no, I don't smoke. And Raquel did not smoke. Or that I remember she did. She was not smoking.
She's so honest, too.
She's like, I did not smoke. Someone needs to tell me who smoked in this car. It was totally Mark Ropestein. But he's like, he, in the backseat. Mark's best friend is Mark with a C. Just to Mark with a K, Mark with a C. And those boys in the backseat were never going to fess up to it. So she is like, your mom even pulled over and said, if you guys don't tell me. And then Raquel and her got in a fight where it was fine, you want me to say it's me? Because Raquel is strong-willed.
Yeah.
So it was bitch. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. No, I don't know. They did not say that to each other. It was just the vibe was so bad. It was when we dropped Raquel off, it was the slammed Cadillac door. And I was like, sorry, Mrs. Roman. Because it was not Jan. I never called your mom Jan until last year. No. I want to say it was I would have been dating your brother for a significant amount of time. Yeah. Otherwise, it was always Mrs. Roman. Mr. Roman. Not like today where you call people, parents, kids will call me by my first name, Liz, which I'm always like, what?
How dare you?
The audacity. But all right, so we are about to head into like not even junior high. I feel like we've done a lot of junior high, DeeDee, unless there's any great memory you have.
Junior high was when I got my fake ID.
Whoa.
Okay, we can't get into that. We can't because
But you were probably in high school. I was still in junior high.
Yes, so you were buying the liquor. So, all right, so we will get into that.
man.
We're having you back, DeeDee. We'll have you back with Jan and without Jan to talk more about, because DeeDee was really, the saying today, ride or die. Mm-hmm. DeeDee was my first, even though I have Heather, still one of my best friends from the first grade. DeeDee was my true first ride or die.
Yeah.
Because I would get her into really some sticky predicaments. And we both would get caught doing shitty things, and we'd lie for each other, cover for each other. Whereas Heather was too much of a little bit of a goody two shoes. So when you really test the parameters of friendship and youth, it's like, oh, shit has hit the fan. Are we gonna like get out of this? Cover, don't make out with that guy, like that type of stuff. It was more DeeDee and I in a lot of ways, until it was like, oh my gosh, wait. I'm in college and you're still in high school.
Bail.
No. All right.
Yeah.
No, we still did it.
Yeah.
We've always done it. Dee's been one of my best friends literally since kindergarten. So, and then we became family, which I think you hated at first, but we'll get into that at the next episode. I do think the shock of like me starting to make out and date your brother. I do want your opinion on that, but we'll get into it later.
Sure.
Yeah, because I am curious all this time later. Okay, so thank you, DeeDee, for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, you'll be back because it's really sparking up a lot of memories.
Oh, yeah. We got a ways to go. We got more to dig out. Dig in, dig up. I don't know. One of those.
Some gardening reference. Good job.
Oh, there you go. Homage to you, Hal. Okay, so thank you for listening to this episode of Family Dynamics. We truly appreciate it. Please follow us on all of our social, which is at Family Dynamics with a K. Thank you for listening to
Family Dynamics.